Thanks very much for your talk. And thanks for the attendees for posting a lot of questions. I'm going to try in the next 10 minutes to pose some of these questions to our speakers. And if there are any outstanding questions, I'll share them with the speakers via email so that you can still be informed. So the first question is for Vincent. Let me just ensure that you are all unmuted so that we can actually hear your answers. And the question comes from Gaston Pesucci, and he was wondering how you assigned the scores for the criteria. And he also asked whether you included a computational cost for the algorithm as an extra criteria. Vincent?
Okay. Do you hear me?
It's not great, the audio, but try one more time, and otherwise I'll share all the questions to you by email.
I'm not sure.
Yes.
Okay. Well, the question was, how did I assign the score? I assigned the score of the outcomes. The outcomes were, I had 3 criteria: the resemblance, the connectivity, and another one. And what I did, I just calculated for every outcome, for every algorithm, how well it did compare to the source results, but also how it relatively compares to the outcomes of the 2 other outcomes. So, and I did not computate a cost, because I said, well, I just wanted to compare the outcomes of both, of all 3, without any cost, because the algorithms are very different. Okay. So I hope that answers the question, but I'm not sure.
Yes, thanks very much. The next question is for Martijn. And the question is, how do you expect other home range techniques could affect your results? So were you to apply other home range techniques, how would it affect your results?
Well, I look into many techniques, of course, but I thought this was the most suitable for my case, because this kernel 95% density estimator with this plug-in bandwidth selection, it was suitable for clustered data, and in my case, that's in the feral cat, that is really the case. There are more, of course. I also use this MCP 95% density estimator because to compare it with other researchers. But yeah, I'm not sure. I just try to find the most suitable one, and I think this is the best. This was the best in my case to use. So I cannot really say how others can influence my result. I do know that there's an estimator, which I forget the name of, and that can also take speed and stuff into account. So you can really see travel paths and things like that. But that was a little bit too much for me in this MSc thesis, but we might take a look into that later when we have more time available.
Okay, thanks very much. Another question for you, Martijn. It's about your choice for the location of the traps, because you seem to have made a very deliberate choice for certain areas of the island rather than just distributing the traps at random. So what was the reasoning behind that?
Well, there are several reasons. One of those was that we did not want to catch too close to the urban area to prevent house cats. Second reason was and that the area was quite wet during the time when we placed the traps, and so we had to put them into the dune area because this was most dry, and also the locations where most cat tracks were seen. So so we actually placed them as far away from possible from urban areas and where we expected the highest trap or the catchability of these cats, highest chance of catching those cats. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. The next question is for Stefan. And the question is, what material budget and time investment is required to conduct a study as you did for a town of 100,000 in case someone would want to replicate the work you did? So what's approximately the budget required?
Well, it's difficult to say, but first of all, you need the equipment. So I had this light meter, which you can buy from €100 to to 1,000 or even more euro. And then you need quite some time to take the measurements if you don't have digital data available. So I was about 20 times out in town during night, so it's a time investment you need to take.
Okay, so it depends on the age and the qualification of the person doing all the field work. Because how many hours approximately were you in the field?
I think I was about 20 times in the field, and as of course I could only do it during nighttime, so it has to be completely dark, and it has to be during times when the lights are still on, so it is some between 9 o'clock or midnight. That was the time when I was out.
Okay. And another question for you is regarding the potential applications. You mentioned a number in your presentation. I was wondering, since you've taken up your new position for the canton, have you actually informed them about your project and the potential? And what potential do you actually see for the canton?
It's not integrated yet in my canton, but I think because I was doing this study in the canton of Zurich, which is the neighboring canton. So I was talking to the town I did this research, and they had some interest, and I can imagine they could be interested in integrating such kind of data into their geoportal to inform people where are the bright spots and where are still the dark islands of our town.
Okay. Thank you. Then I have a question for Vincent. What was the main challenge in this research field of automated generation of waterworks as you experienced it? Because you were practicing it,
the main challenge was
also researching it. Can you elaborate on that?
yes. Well, the main challenge was the Dutch water network is a very specific type of network, and it is. And actually, at the way we have acquired the network in our source data set, it's not really a network because non-connected. There are a lot of non-connected features, so we had to do something, and
I'm sorry, Vincent. I will need to stop.
Especially improve the network and maybe yes.
So sorry, I'll have to stop you there. The audio is not so good, so I'll share remaining questions with you via email. Sorry about that. I have a final question for the other two speakers, and it's someone who's about to
Okay.
start his MSc thesis project. What are the main tips you would give to him? And then, first of all, what part of the research project took up unforeseen time, and what would you have done differently in hindsight? So if we can hear first from Martijn.
I would how do you say that, kader? The
Limitations or the boundaries of
yeah,
scope.
yeah, the boundaries of my research more clearly in the research proposal, so that you really stick to what you write in your proposal. And because I went a little bit flying all sides, and you are ending up doing lots of things, and in the end you produce really nothing. So you really stick to the boundaries.
And Stefan, what is your primary?
Yeah, I completely agree what Martijn has just said. On top, I would also say that you have to be really interested in the topic. Otherwise, it gets a bit hard to deal with the topic during a year or half a year, which you are not interested in. So I think the choice of the topic is very crucial. And another point is perhaps to reserve or to have a good time plan, because once you have the idea and the data collected, so that's only one part of the story, and then there needs to be a lot of work to put all that on paper and set up the document that we will hand in.
Thanks for sharing your tips. And that brings us to the end of the webinar. And I would like to thank the speakers very much for their time and for their inspiring talks, and also the attendees for posting questions and joining in. We hope that you will all join us again for our next U Lecture webinar, which will be on the 16th of December. And it will be about geoinformation capacity building in education. And in 2016, the series of webinars will continue, but they will be hosted by UNIGIS UK. But always focusing on topics relevant to GIS students and professionals. So please keep track of our social media for any updates regarding those webinars. As I said, thanks for joining. You'll receive a follow-up email including a link to the recording of the webinar, and also a request to provide us with feedback. We would love to hear from you because you can help us to improve our next sessions. And finally, if you're interested in actually pursuing an MSc studies with us, please follow the link or send us an email. Thanks very much, and a very good evening to all of you.